All right.
Cool. Well, welcome back to Global Hack Week, day 5. Let's see what's in store for us today.
Yes. Super excited to be here. Yeah. Haven't had a chance to look at the stream so far as I'm getting back from a hackathon last weekend, but excited to dive into the streams I've missed for the past few days.
I mean, I saw Kari was on a lot yesterday when I was
Yes.
in today in Global Hack Week yesterday. So
Mhm.
let's go ahead and jump in that. Oh no, it's day 6. Oops, my bad. If you like that. But before we really get into what happened yesterday and what's going to happen today, hi, let me introduce myself. My name is Cecilia. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking, and I'm actually currently doing my PhD in hackathons. I had to come up with a new fact because yesterday, if y'all saw it, I was like, that's going to be a little boring today.
Gotta mix it up every once in a while. My name is Gabriella. I'm also a coach here at Major League Hacking, and my fun fact is that according to Spotify Wrapped, I listened to 1,800 minutes of Beyonce last year.
How many days is that?
That's a good question. Let me do some quick math.
Okay, I'll keep going then. So as for how it was yesterday, well, Gabriella pulls up that day calculation because I'm curious. So we used TensorFlow to build machine learning models, and that was with Alberto. Looks like it was a lot of fun. Looks like some things got, at least you could host it. Looks like it was local host. Looks like it was still pretty fun. And then we have working on your first retrieval augmented generation model. I've actually not heard of this. Definitely going to have to check that out with David in the recordings. Looks like it's about retrieving relevant information, vector representations. Sounds pretty cool, not gonna lie. I only know about K-nearest neighbors, which, there's always new stuff to learn. And then you discuss tips and tricks for deciding your next AI and ML project idea. And I know this was with Kari. She was talking about it yesterday. And it was actually, she was using one of the projects that she's working on for her classes as something to follow along with as a reference point. And of course, people redeemed their free GoDaddy registry domains, created comics using AI. Ooh, a history of cricket. That's actually pretty cool.
That was cool. I saw some hacks this past weekend using like comics with AI, and they're always really cool.
Ooh, that's refreshing. I
Yes.
I have not seen that. I'm hopeful. AI Comic Factory. I'm vibing with this. This is cool. All right. So as for what's happening today, remember that at any point you can go ahead and go to our schedule on ghw.mlh.io, but you can also tune in here right now, right here, to see what's happening.
Yes. So immediately following this, we'll be diving into my Intro to Supervised Learning workshop using Python. This will just be kind of like a basic introduction to supervised learning, and we'll create our first model together as well. This will be at 1 p.m. Eastern or 11:30 p.m. IST.
That's pretty cool,
Yes.
actually. I
Um,
love how accessible it is these days to just getting to AI and ML. It didn't used to be when I was in undergrad.
For sure. Yeah. And for anyone who was curious on the Beyonce minutes
Oh
to
yeah,
day
yeah, yeah.
calculation, it's 1.25 days. So
Okay. I was thinking that would be a lot more, but like that
Mhm.
makes it seem less like
Yeah,
intense, but it's also like clean beat. Like can't go wrong with that.
exactly.
All right. Then we have Kari again with mobile apps and natural language processing, part 2. I think she's brought back an application she made back in Beginners Week last month, and so she's extending it this Global Hack Week by adding natural language processing. So definitely look forward to that at 4 p.m. Eastern or 2:30 a.m. IST.
And then after
Oh,
that,
then there's me. So we have Wikipedia Races mini event, and that'll be 7 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 a.m. IST. We will be challenging ourselves. There is a history in which I make Wikipedia Races oddly hard. I'm not trying to, but if you're up to the challenge, feel free to join me later today.
sounds like a lot of fun. And then afterwards, you can join Alberto to develop easy and fast ML Firebase applications. This sounds really interesting. It'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern or 7:30 a.m. IST.
And then we have Ritvi with an intro to Python for machine learning. Definitely a classic, especially as you get started or even revisit videos from this past week. Join her at 2 a.m. Eastern or 12:30 p.m. IST. And she's also doing an intro to data for machine learning, also 5 a.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. IST.
And then after that, we'll have part 2 with Dimmer of implementing a pathfinding AI in a Godot game engine. Quite a mouthful, but it sounds like it'll be an absolute blast. You'll be creating characters that go through different game environments using pathfinding algorithms. This sounds like really a lot of fun. But if you missed part one, you can always head back to our Twitch or YouTube recordings to kind of catch up with what Dimmer did in the first part. And Dimmer streams are always a blast, so be sure to tune in.
Yeah, Dimmer streams are iconic. And then to close today, we have Today in Global Hack Week in about 24-ish hours at 12 p.m. Eastern and 10:30 p.m. IST, where you might be getting to know about day 6 again. I think there's a quick typo somewhere. I'm pretty sure today is day 5, but now I'm like, is it? I don't know.
Let me double
I
check.
thought it was. It is day 5. Okay, I was not wrong.
Yes.
All right, so we'll go ahead and open it to Q&A. Definitely drop those questions in the chat, although we do see a few questions already, and we can go ahead and get started with those. But again, we'll be here for a little bit answering any questions you might have about Global Hack Week. As for first question, few sessions are not available at YouTube here at Twitch. That does happen. I'd say just hang tight for like a few more days, up to a week. We apologize for the delay, but sometimes some videos are taken down just to do some minor editing, and then they're put right back up.
Yes. Also, before I forget, make sure you register for attending Today in Global Hack Week. We didn't send that link earlier, but make sure you register so you can get your points for Global Hack Week.
Good point. Good point. I mean, so far it doesn't seem like there's questions otherwise.
I guess everyone's a pro by this point in the week.
It is pretty late, although it is Tuesday. I mean, we did start early, I guess.
Yes.
Wait, so if you listen to 1,800 minutes of Beyonce, does that mean you were in like the top percentages for her listeners?
Yes, they only give you the minute breakdown if you're like in like the top whatever. I'd have to look at the screenshot to see what the percentage is. Give me 1 minute on that.
not to stalk your Spotify history, but I'm like, I wonder. I've never gotten how many minutes, but then again, I don't really get top percentages of artists either. So
I always have like one random artist that is like the top like percentage because I like to like I'll get obsessed with like one album. So like spikes my listening history. Yes, top 0.5% fan. So that's
impressive, knowing how many people listen to Beyonce.
Exactly. I was not expecting that.
Congrats, I think. Yes, kind of within reason to the person who asked personal questions, I guess. We reserve the right to say no.
Yes.
Because the internet is dangerous.
Exactly.
In the meantime, I'm like, I don't really get like top percent of an artist. Curious now. I'm gonna go through my Spotify and see.
Yeah. Last year was Pitbull. I was Someone asked what's the plan for tomorrow. As far as Global Hack Week's plan, you can check out the schedule at ghw.mlh.io/schedule. As far as my plan for tomorrow, I'll be running a workshop on language learning models and doing some schoolwork.
Tomorrow is Wednesday. I will probably be trying to do PhD work. Maybe fit some coding in somewhere or put a stream on in the background, but it really just depends on how my day ends up going. It never goes according to plan. Actually, wait, do I have meetings tomorrow? I think I have meetings tomorrow, actually. Never mind. Yeah, I have meetings tomorrow. I'm running a couple of them for my lab and for some other stuff. JK, I'm not PhDing. I'm admin. Very impressive. 5%. Yeah, my Spotify isn't loading, so I mean, Gabriella, would you like to talk about your your session?
Yes, tomorrow I'll be running an LLM workshop. It's kind of like a fun, like very niche one. We'll be building like a stand-up comedy set using an LLM and like a specific library. Just like find commonalities and like stand-up comedy sets to like generate our own version. I'm not sure how funny it's gonna end up actually being because it'll be like generated by a computer, but I thought it was a fun idea. So
I like the idea. I remember back in the day when I was learning about LLMs when they were still coming out. We talked about what was it? How like contextually it would say it was funny, but when you read it like as someone who understands the language and thinks beyond that, like it's not actually that funny. It's like, wait, what's wrong here?
yeah.
So it's like
Mm-hmm.
tech funny, I guess.
Exactly. Or like a little bit funny, but not like normal stand-up comedy funny.
Right. Like, haha, the computer is funny, but yeah, no. So I am doing a PhD on hackathons where I am trying to understand the community a little better. Research currently is pretty shallow on it, and so I'd like to extend that and get a better understanding for the research side of things. And then I also want to make an evaluative tool that like hackathon organizers or classrooms can then evaluate themselves on making like their environments just generally better. And that can be in being more inclusive, being like better educational structure wise to encourage learning, to encourage asking questions. A lot of the positive things you tend to see in a hackathon, but bringing that into the classroom without making a hackathon in the classroom, because no one wants a graded hackathon.
Someone's asking, before starting with LLMs, you should have a solid background in classical machine learning. What's your opinion? My opinion is that's probably a relatively good idea before like diving into like your own learning and research with like large language models. But for like a 2-hour workshop on like making a stand-up comedy set, I think you're gonna be okay. I'm just gonna walk you through like what you specifically need to know, and I can answer questions along the way. But I think like learning like broadly about machine learning before like diving into LLMs is probably a good idea.
I just echo that. I mean, even back then with machine learning, when everybody was obsessed with just machine learning before LLMs came out, they're like, you should have a good background in stats. And it's like, yeah, but for a workshop, no.
Yeah.
There's functions for that. So
Exactly.
same deal. If
like
you end up like wanting to do it like as a focus area job, yes, definitely. Because then you have better background. But for like workshop, no.
Yeah. Or like you're making like a one-off project at a hackathon, like you'll be all right. It won't be like the best LLM, but it'll be like, okay, you'll learn some stuff.
Yeah, it'll get the point across.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, any other questions, comments, concerns? Yeah, Spotify just won't load my homepage. It keeps telling me something's wrong.
Oh no.
Honestly, that's okay. It's probably for the better. Sometimes I get an out.
Yeah. I don't use Spotify like on my computer that often, so I'm like not familiar with like the interface there. It's usually just my phone.
That's fair. I spend a lot of time writing documents, so I spend a lot of time using Spotify on my laptop or like trying to conserve battery across all my devices. So I have Spotify quite literally everywhere. Downloaded just my phone.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. I'll like pull up like a like Mario Kart music, like 10-hour version whenever I'm like working on my computer.
Oh, that's cute. I like that. I used to do lo-fi back in the day too.
Yeah.
These days I just find an album and put it on repeat.
Yeah. That's fair. I feel like once you've listened to it enough, like it like fades to like into background music. Yeah.
Yeah. Studying the theory of computation or automata theory brings a really smooth transition to ML. Cool. I hadn't really thought of that, but maybe so.
Yeah, I would say that like could be a really good transition. I did not study those two before taking ML classes, so you can do it either way, but it might be smoother that way.
Or you can just tinker.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yes, and especially like APIs and like I guess like quick starters, it's a lot easier to kind of dive in to it than it used to be because they're like, okay, here's like how you do this very specific thing versus here's like all the conceptual things that like make it up.
Yeah, that was back when I did computer vision. That's what it was like. They'd be like, install this library, but only this version, and then do this, and then it was rough. And the only way you could run machine learning models, like using TensorFlow, even like everybody knows, it's like fairly easy to set up these days. Was not easy back in the day. It was like, here's this wheel file you need to download, and I don't think people have heard of wheel files these days, given how easy it is to install everything now. Ugh. Version dependencies were the bane of my existence when I did research there.
I bet with like all like the different moving pieces, it's challenging sometimes.
Keeping track of it all, like, and documentation has certainly improved, but back then it was here's this weird way I fixed this, and here I modified this model by this thing, and it's like, but why?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'll like run like a lot of workshops or streams like in like a Replit or like a like Jupyter on like the browser file just to make sure that all the versions are like up to date and the same, so it's easier to avoid those kind of errors.
I totally get that. Cool. Well, you have a question.
Do I have any research background? And if I would like to share anything about that? Lightly. I've been working in a research lab on campus with like the Spot robot dogs. If you've ever seen those like yellow robots that like walk around.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a really exciting lab to be in. I haven't gotten too far as like I'm still kind of like learning about like the theory behind like machine learning and like kind of like all those pieces. But eventually, like what I'd like to do is integrate kind of like a language model so it's able to answer questions about like the engineering building and like on tours because they use it like a lot of times in the engineering like building tours. And versus just like having the robot like walk around and kind of be like a prop, it would be able to like actually interact with people a little bit more. But we'll see if I get that far before the end of the year.
That's cool. I like that. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Also, like you have Spot on campus.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's whenever we have to transport the robot around, it's like such an ordeal because you have to like lock it up in the cases and then wheel around this like like really heavy case that like I don't know, it's
wow,
it's funny. And then like up the stairs, like finding I don't know like the elevator, and unloading it. But it's really cool when you can get it out and the like kid spaces when you pull out the giant robot dog. It's pretty cool too.
I mean, you saw my face. I was like, no way, you have Spot. Oh gosh. I've only seen it in videos still. Actually, no, wait. I did see it once when I was at Grace Hopper. That was pretty cool. And it was just dancing around in like a crowd of people because everybody like, yeah.
Yeah. I've been the person like making it dance around at like random venues before when we're like trying to promote the lab. But it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone has any more questions. So I think we're good to wrap up.
Yeah, for sure. It was great talking to y'all. Yeah, and I hope you have a great rest of your Global Hack Week day and a great rest of the week as well.
Yeah, likewise. And again, if you're up to the challenge, Wiki races later today.
Yes. I might be tuning in.
We do have one last question, and then we'll wrap up. But I don't have an answer for this.
I don't either. I don't really interact with Greek life on campus, so I have no idea.
Also don't. I am so far removed from Greek life. Maybe that's a question for them to figure out.
Yes.
All right. With that, then, have a great rest of Global Hack Week, at least for today. And yeah.
See you later. Thank you for tuning in.